Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thrilled that you can be joining us this morning for the ETQ Food and Beverage event. We're going to give it just 30 more seconds, and then we're going to get underway here with a very special guest, Jenny Speck from Coca-Cola. So we'll give it just a second, and we'll get underway shortly. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thrilled that you were able to join us this morning. My name is Erica Davis. I'm an Enterprise Account Executive here at ETQ. Welcome to our food and beverage event and workshop. We've got a great morning set up for you, starring our special guest, Jenny Speck from Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast. She is going to be sharing with you some really great information around some key valuable topics that are important to yourselves. Following that, we are going to jump into an exciting extension. Not only are we going to have the opportunity to do a Q&A with Jenny, asking her topics, questions that you might have from her key topics that she shared with you, but you're also going to have the ability to join one of our two demo breakout sessions. One will be an audits demo and one will be a mobile demo. These, as you can tell, are the key topics that will link into Jenny's conversation today. So you're already getting a sneak peek about the great conversation that we're going to be having together. Really quickly, I'd like to introduce you to ETQ, who we are. I don't know if you know this, but ETQ stands for Excellence Through Quality. We are a company that has been built with a passion of quality from the ground up, an experienced team that is driven. Our purpose really is to help our customers meet the quality management needs that you are striving to accomplish for your organization. Headquarters in Boston, but we, like many of you on this call, have global offices, so one in Ireland and a secondary office in Arizona, and over 30 years of experience that we bring to the table to our customers, such as yourself, to help share and make your projects not only initially successful, but long-term as well. So ETQ Reliance itself, it is a cloud-native QMS powered by an agile, flexible, extendable platform that drives 40 best-in-class applications that are adaptable to your unique environment. We utilize Amazon Web Services for our SaaS offering. And on top of our broad application portfolio, we have advanced analytics, ETQ Insights, that helps pull up that very key important information that sits within ETQ Reliance, enabling you to make proactive decisions rather than being reactive, enabling you to see that key important data that's so very important to you. So it's a very extensible platform covering a wide range of quality. And as you can see, we cover that quality that we built covers a wide multiple industries across the globe here. We're focusing on food and beverage today. This is where Jenny is going to be is from and going to be talking to. But you can see the very expanse that we cover here at ETQ across the board, meeting and adapting to quality needs across various industries. So let me introduce you to our guest speaker today, Jenny Speck. She began her career as a synthetic organic chemist, working on both R&D and on approved APIs. She had the ability, when pregnant with her first child, to take a step into the regulatory world. And after being blessed with triplets as well, she returned. We're really focusing on writing those batch records, SOPs, insurance, ensuring compliance, all areas that I'm sure are important to you as well. Excitingly, she was offered the opportunity to work for Coca-Cola and that encompassed both quality control and quality assurance. And most recently, her role has expanded to a more corporate QA role, where she now manages their management systems for both production locations, which are in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and East Hartford, Connecticut. Maintaining Coke's 4 ISO certifications in each production location, Jenny is now responsible for building out and implementing the ETQ capabilities. So Jenny, welcome. Thank you for sharing with us today your piece that you're going to share around how ETQ has been valuable to you on the 2 key topics for today's conversation. Really appreciate it. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you. And please let me know if that paused through. Okay, great. So Jenny, over to you. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for being here.
Fantastic. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Erica, for that introduction. I am super excited to be here today to be able to speak to you guys from an ETQ customer standpoint and kind of show you guys what we've been able to do with it in a fairly short period of time. I'm going to turn off the camera for the presentation, but I will be back at the end for the Q&A session. So now that you know a little bit about me this morning, I'd like to share a little bit more about Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast and what our ETQ journey has been. I'm going to start today with an introduction to Coke Northeast, followed by what it means to us operating in a COVID world with a particular focus on audits and ETQ. After explaining what we have done with ETQ, I will show you our roadmap of how we got to where we are today and what we're excited about in our future plans. I have allocated time at the end for a Q&A session. However, should you have a question along the way, feel free to put it in the comment box in the chat, and I'll do my best to address it as we go. Like the agenda on the previous slide stated, great people really make great brands, and I wouldn't be able to properly introduce you to Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast without first giving you a snapshot of the wonderful people behind our operation. They are the very beating heart and soul of what we do every single day. The photos here are not stock photos, but some of the actual team members from our production and sales centers throughout our territory. Now that you've seen a few faces to go with our name, let me share with you our true north. Our mission is to refresh the Northeast with the very best selection of great tasting beverages. We work as one resourceful team, collaborating to achieve profitable long-term growth by investing in our people, our communities, and our customer success. At our very core, we stand for quality, passion, integrity, diversity, and resourcefulness. Many of you know our soft drinks, but we are so much more than soda. In addition to our own brands of soda, water, teas, lemonades, coffees, and energy drinks, we partner with other companies such as Keurig Dr. Pepper and Monster Energy to produce and distribute an even greater variety of great tasting beverages for you, the consumer. The last 4 years have been momentous for us at Coke Northeast. It's hard to believe, but Coca-Cola Northeast had humble beginnings as Coca-Cola of Northern New England. We started out in 1977 with only a single location in New Hampshire, but we have grown to cover all of New England and a large portion of the state of New York. In 2017, CCN&E celebrated its 40th anniversary and completed its greatest growth expansion by tripling in size. Shortly thereafter, we realized that Coca-Cola of Northern New England no longer represented us as a company, so we launched a unification rebranding to Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast, where we stand today. Expanding the business doesn't stop at the territory lines. It's so much more, and the management system has had to grow as well to accommodate that. At Coca-Cola Northeast, each of our production facilities are certified against 4 ISO standards: quality, ISO 9001, safety, ISO 45000, FSSE 22002-1 food safety, and our ISO 14001 environmental. While each standard has distinct criteria, there is a fair bit of overlap, which allows us to run a single integrated management system. Under each ISO standard above is a few distinct callouts particular to those standards. The list is not all-encompassing, and there are some that apply to more than one standard, but are placed with the standard to which it has a greater emphasis. Below each standard are some value-added focus areas that Coke Northeast has identified for continual improvement of each of our management system. Prior to our tripling in size, Coke Northeast had a single quality department, which encompassed both QA and QC. As we have grown, we have branched off of the QA functions into a more centralized management systems department. In addition, for quality, we have added value. We saw the value in revamping both our internal and external auditing programs. For safety, we launched a behavior-based safety initiative. This included mobile capabilities, which we'll get to in a little bit. And we've begun leveraging additional services working with our external partners and safety providers. Things like services that they provide free of charge that we weren't taking advantage of prior. Audits, PPE management, training, things of that nature. For food safety, we really started to work on an FSSE management system mapping initiative as to which parts of our programs fall into meet which requirements and by location. In addition, one of the biggest value-added focus areas was the digital real-time on-hold database. This has allowed us to transfer information seamlessly across locations, departments, and in real time, which has been absolutely huge. As far as safety, as far as the environmental goes, we are focusing our efforts this year on continuing our no exposure certification for wastewater management. And we have put a greater emphasis on our lean pollution prevention project this year, in which will further reduce waste. Currently, both production facilities are zero landfill facilities, with approximately 92% being recycled and 8% incinerated for energy. But continual improvement is at the very epicenter of a strong management system. It requires careful planning and execution, along with constant reevaluation to be successful. But sometimes, as we all know, life throws us a pretty significant curveball. And then there was COVID. So COVID-19 affected nearly every aspect of our business. So a one-stop approach wouldn't have been sufficient to capture all we've had to change and consider this year. We took a multifaceted approach to operating in a COVID world. We began, like most, with an awareness campaign. We created an awareness through posting, headset communications, emails, a new company-wide intranet, and distributed masks to all associates. We required social distancing per state and regulatory guidelines. We had staggered start and shift start and end times and breaks to engineer as much social distancing as possible. From a management systems perspective, it was all about assessing the risks. We performed many risk assessments ranging through all aspects of our business. From a supply chain standpoint, we needed to be resourceful and also had to make and find other approved usage for some of our already approved in-house chemicals and cleaning agents. This allowed us to keep operating during some of the supply shortages. We also had to make some physical plant changes as well. This included adding sanitizing stations throughout the facility, bringing a porta potty on site for contractors working outside, rearranging some storage to create more room for social distancing, and adjusting how we communicate. Unfortunately, gone were the days of the shift start meetings and large group trainings. From a corporate perspective, we had to limit intercompany travel as well as external providers to only that which was essential to keep our business operating. We performed a temperature monitoring risk assessment and provided all our employees with thermometers so that they may fill out a daily self-monitoring questionnaire and temperature check without risking the safety of other employees to take that temperature. Finally, we created a company-wide intranet for a one-stop communication. While words are great, sometimes pictures are worth 1,000 words. Here is some of the awareness campaign initiatives in action. We have some of the hand sanitizing stations, we have some clear CDC guidelines, and we have some repurposed um, surface sanitizers that are made fresh daily by our QC team. We provided our employees with those fresh cleaning and sanitizers to take to their workstations, and we broke down what social distancing looked like into very simple, everyday common objects like dogs, a man with a top hat, maybe some cats, or a couch. It also helped with language barriers in that regard. We needed to be able to provide our associates, now starting at different times as well, for their shift, the shift schedule and any particular notes pertaining to any schedule changes or any special events going on in that day. So a very simple solution was to add a folder there by the time clock, which would allow our associates, as they punched in at their designated shifted times, to be able to be up on the current news. We did our best to engineer social distancing wherever it got tricky. So sometimes this means limiting personnel in certain areas that are very tight or small. And other times we actually changed our means of storage. We actually built a brand new storage rack, which took up a lot less space in order to create more space to move around and be socially distant. We did bring that porta potty on site for outside contractors so that they didn't have to enter the building unnecessarily. In summary, as far as COVID goes, it did a lot to shake up our business. It affected all aspects of our business, from the in-office personnel to customers and consumers on the front line. It did challenge us to reimagine and restructure the way that we do business, and it certainly tested our management system. But what COVID did not do was shut us down. It did not prevent us from operating our business, though it did create some hardships. It did not break our management system, and it did not prevent us from keeping our audit certifications. So what's the big secret? How did we manage to keep operating the way that we did? Ultimately, a management system is designed to handle change and continually improve. It's a cyclical process which, if done correctly, will constantly test your management system and ultimately make you better for it. We believe that in order to have a successful management system, it needs to be challenged on a regular basis. That is why in 2019, while tripling in size, we had opted to reimagine our internal audit program and make it more risk-based and robust. As a company, Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast follows the Plan, Do, Check, Act model shown on screen now. For those that are unfamiliar with the Plan, Do, Check, Act model, it begins in a planning stage. For inputs, you want to consider your organization, its requirements, the customer requirements, and the needs and expectations of interested parties. From there, you'll decide your business plan and actually begin to operate and support the operation. That's the do phase. But it's equally important, if not more important, to continue to evaluate your performance against the requirements and the customer requirements and the plan that was set forth. So part of that is the internal audit program and your ability to trace products forward and backwards, especially in the food and beverage industry. Now, those checks, if done properly, should identify areas for possible improvement. But it's more than just identifying those areas. It's about acting on it and taking that corrective action, which takes you back to the planning stage. Okay, I've identified X, Y, Z. How do I bring that into the plan? And the process begins again. And that all comes down from top leadership and being involved in the process from the get-go and having ownership with it. So we talked a little bit about audits being reimagined. We refocused our efforts to make our audits risk-based and cross-functional. And we broke them into 4 particular categories: management system audits, process audits, special planned audits, and interested party audits. These audits were spread out over 10 months, and between our 2 locations, about 20 associates. Each plant has its own area and cross-functional team. This really allows for more eyes um, in different areas. They might work at your facility, but if they're from the maintenance department and they're looking at quality, it's going to give both your auditors a better understanding of your business, as well as potentially bring new eyes to a particular problem that you may have gone blind to over time. The process audits themselves, they cover all critical aspects of our business, areas of our business. From an operational standpoint, they were annual. So we would look at our flow charts for food safety and break it down and audit for each different area. Now, while they are annual, the subtopics or questions within the audit may vary depending on the changes, you know, to either the interested parties, maybe the internal policies changed, maybe the procedures or regulations got updated. So it does still, even though they're annual, it does still bring a fresh look to the very basic processes that we undertake. For interested party and specially planned audits, these were very much risk-based specific audits, and they do vary year to year. These can be customer requirements that change. Maybe we're working with a bottling partner and they have set forth a standard of guidelines, um, things along that nature. It allows for a lot of variability and flexibility within your audit program. And finally, we still need to look at the management system audits as a whole. We have to check on our management system. Is it performing as designed? So we look at specific portions of the system each year. We don't really have enough resources or bandwidth to cover all of the elements of the standards every year. There's a lot with each ISO standard. Granted, there is some overlap, but there is a lot to each standard. So what we do is we rotate that on a risk basis based on either previous audit findings, our internal process, external process. It all feeds into a risk-based system. So how did we pull off these audits and this reimagined system? Well, we did this by harnessing the power of ETQ. ETQ, for those that are unaware, is a modular management system that links information between the modules for better record keeping and retrieval. This is especially important when it comes to linking audits to their corrective actions. It also links to meeting minutes, so you can prove that you're talking about these things, and you can issue action items right out of either of these and track them to completion as well, and it will automatically update, which is huge. It's mobile and tablet capable, which we are just starting to dip our feet into and are very excited about. And finally, there's a lot of power in the ability to make it our own. We are utilizing some out-of-the-box versions as well because they've suited our needs just fine. We have the ability to create our own workflows, which allows for the passing of information between both people, departments, and locations in real time. Where our territory has expanded so much, it is critically important to us to be able to keep everybody in the loop as needed. So being able to do these remote audits either with a third-party auditor and easily retrieve that linked information and records was certainly a winning combination for us. It has done really well. We've gotten a lot of high accolades from previous audits. Currently, our system houses a little over 1,500 controlled documents. We have completed 162 corrective actions with over 600 completed action items. We've managed and reviewed 162 safety opportunities and tracked and managed 167 meeting minutes to date. So why are internal audits the key to success? By having that robust internal audit program and acting on the findings, it really does allow the management system to continually improve, and it puts you in a better spot for when those external auditors come in. There's no surprises. You've already looked at your system. You're maintaining your system. To put it into perspective, during COVID, we completed 7 audits, both remote and in person, and all completed with best-in-class high accolades. So we are very thrilled with that. So now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what our ETQ journey has been like, because it's not overnight, but it certainly has got us there in a short period of time. So we actually started as an ETQ Verse customer, which was an earlier simplified version of the software, before ETQ upgraded us and everyone to the Reliance system that's in place now. We began in 2017 as we were celebrating our 40th anniversary and expanding our territory. We kicked off with the categories that we felt were most needed at the time for organizational and management. So you have to get an admin center in there to be able to add people, take people away, manage it the way that you want to. Document control was really a problem for us in previous audits. We'd have old versions kicking around on the floor, never had the right revs and everything, and this just made it so much more clear, and concise and organized. Having the corrective action module was very important to standardize and streamline the process with a very good workflow. And being able to take credit for the work that we're doing, we realized was something we weren't doing very well. So as an initiative to that, we kicked off the meetings management module as well. In 2018, we grew to begin looking and focusing on change management. How is our management system going to adapt to change, and how can we use ETQ to help with that process? So as we introduce new flavors, new products, things of that nature, it now goes from all the way from our corporate level, starting point work in the workflow, all the way down through the plant levels to ordering of the materials, etc. So it really was allowed us to streamline multiple locations, multiple departments, all working together, inputted in a single module. This is also when we kicked off the revamp of the audits management. While we started in 2017, we didn't complete the project until 2018. In addition, we took a big focus on safety, accident and incident reporting. They have a great module for that. We were able to customize it to make it very similar to a very tedious paper version we had been tracking before and sending via snail mail to different locations. So that made that process so much easier. And now with mobile capabilities, that's expanding even further. In addition, one of our biggest things as far as food safety is concerned was the build out of our non-conforming module. This really allows us to track in real time an on-hold database for anything non-conforming. And that really was pretty exciting, because it allowed us in real time to keep up with everything. In 2019, we started looking at, okay, we've collected a lot of this data. Let's start reporting on it. Let's start really making decisions on it. We've got a lot of the organization going there, but, are we really taking those action items to completion in a timely fashion? So that's really where that centralized reporting and alerts kind of build out came in. We also looked at task management for our compliance calendar, which this is a really interesting module. It has helped us to, stay on top of alerts, alerting people, at our desired frequency, notifying them of a task that needs to be completed for a regulatory or compliance purpose in advance, and then allowing them to track those records, the completion records, all in one database. And finally, we also launched our quality records module. We did this not as far as QC data, but as far from a consumer affairs capacity. This was very exciting for us because it allowed us to track our consumer complaints and trend and track and escalate and link to the corrective actions module and any action items and meeting minutes, where we discuss all of these things right back to this and keep it all linked together. In 2020, we started expanding further to the monitoring and inspection. Previously, this was all paper-based and a lot of handling. So this, again, is perfectly suited, in our opinion, for the mobile capabilities. We also expanded to start tracking our calibration, assets calibration and maintenance, particularly for the focus of calibration. Excel spreadsheets can only go so far, where this allowed and would send out notifications, hey, this is coming due, be sure to schedule this. You can set it up, you can track those records. You're not keeping binders upon binders of documents any longer, um, to keep everything going and organized. So that also helped tremendously as far as some of our audits and our record keeping. And in 2020, we also began dabbling in the mobile capabilities. By 2020, we had 14 modules implemented. We are now currently going mobile, and that is leading up to our 15th module, which was a behavior-based safety module, making the observations done completely and entirely via mobile, either on a tablet or a phone. It has made that process significantly easier. It's made the data easier to standardize, and it really has a lot of implications. We started with just a very small build out with a single inspection. We used it for a hazardous waste inspection, which is required in the state of New Hampshire to be done every 7 days for a small quantity generator. So we started there, and we kind of tweaked it to the point where we found we knew what was working, what wasn't working, and adjusted the questions accordingly. You can really build it to your specifications, and that part of it was very appealing to us. Overall, the pros, certainly being able to take those pictures directly from your mobile device and it automatically adds it to the attachment file when you open from a computer or link it to those records was huge. It's also having the ability to have that voice recording. It was perfect application for taking employee statements instead of filling out forms. This we're hoping to apply as well to safety incidents and reporting. And it allows you to initiate and save the documents, um, as you're going along. But you can, if you have to stop and you have to, you get pulled away, it does allow you to save that and you can complete it online later. And that was a big pro that from feedback that we got from our associates. There are some challenges. Some employees obviously are averse to new technology. And phones in general tend to capitalize that first letter by default, which can trip up the login portion of our of ETQ. So that part of it is just when you realize that is just something to be aware of. Maybe when you're developing your usernames to consider that. And it can be a little bit slow depending on your connection in your production facility, how good your signal is, your Wi-Fi. It just really, each production facility is going to be a little bit different in as far as that. But those are the only challenges we've really run up against as far as going mobile. Now that you've seen what we've done, what's next for us? We're looking to expand that mobile capability. We're hoping to upgrade to training management and build out that module this year. And we're also planning on trying to build out suppliers, materials, and chemicals module, which will link to our management of change for our new chemical intro. We'd like to begin polishing some of the existing modules. Once you have what you think is working, play with it for a bit, run it for a bit, and then make changes. You want to really field test it, see what works. Is it just growing pains, changing, or is it something that you really want to make a change to? So we're looking back now to go back into polishing some of those. We'd also like to expand the user training and knowledge base. We have a lot of new users and we need to continue to expand their training and knowledge base. There is a wonderful resource with ETQ Academy, but not everybody on our full production floor has the ability to access that. So it's also us getting that knowledge and training out in front of them as well. And we're investigating adding advanced analytics, the ETQ insights, to our program. We're collecting a lot more data than we have prior, and we really would be interested in taking advantage potentially of the ETQ insights. So that's our roadmap from the future. We're certainly excited about it. We're certainly excited to partner with ETQ. We have done very well in audits from partnering with ETQ and in being able to manage and maintain our four ISO systems and our integrated management system. It has made all of the difference for us. So I thank you guys for your attentiveness. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll be happy to answer them.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenny. That was fantastic. I appreciated you sharing with the audience your journey of how COVID has affected you, particularly as it relates to audits, right? Pre and post COVID, and kind of where you're going with mobile today, how you're using it, and where you hope to go from there. So thank you for sharing that. I want to open it up to the audience here to see if you have any questions for Jenny. Anything on your mind based off of the great information that she shared that she can help answer for you? All right. And I know I sent a chat while Jenny was talking. If you do have any questions, feel free to add them to the question tab, or feel free to come off mute and ask her. Jenny, while we wait for a question to come in, perhaps you can share with us, you gave us some really great use cases for how you're using mobile today and kind of where you really like the technology. And you spoke that you want to expand it. Can you maybe dive into a little bit more about where you want to take it from here?
Certainly. So we're looking to there's a lot of things that we would like to expand as far as mobile, particularly into additional inspections. We have found that taking it onto the floor with a small mobile device that most people already have on them makes that inspection process a lot cleaner. It adds a lot more visibility, and a better record. You know, an auditor can now see, if we want them to, big if there, but what our findings were from that inspection. You can simply snap a photo with your phone and it's going to add that. So while we started with a few small inspections, we would like to continue to grow that, possibly build out into our GMP inspections, maybe our safety self inspections as well. It also allows for clearer picture when that information is being relayed to our cross-functional like safety committee. You know, what did you see? Where is it? Why is it a problem? You know, picture is worth 1,000 words, and that is a huge portion of that. So we're hoping to expand in that regard. In addition, we would like to look at, for the safety reporting, you know, if somebody is potentially reporting an injury, maybe it's a small paper cut, maybe it's something more serious, but to be able to, in the midst of their injury, take down an employee statement, it's very challenging. So I think having the ability to voice record their statement at the time is going to be well worth its investment in getting that implemented mobilely.
Fantastic. I love that path that you have, that you just enlightened us with. I think that those are really exciting additions to the current mobile capability. It could really impact Coca-Cola as a whole by adding those. So that's really great. One question that we often get here at ETQ when we are speaking with potential new customers is around suppliers, and potentially being impacted by them. And I know COVID really made it some challenges for food and beverage companies to get the supplies that they needed to get the product out to their customers. Can you share with us, did Coca-Cola experience any of those same instances during COVID as well?
Yes, we most certainly did. The biggest would probably be in the aluminum can. Getting our aluminum cans for bottling, that was certainly one of the biggest things. We had to do actually a separate risk assessment because our supplier locally was unable to fulfill that request. As part of our Coca-Cola initiative, we do not take any supplies from anybody that's unauthorized by Coca-Cola. So we have an authorized supplier list, but even so, it required us to go down that list pretty far and to get those cans from overseas. So we did that, but in doing so, we needed to look at the risks associated with that, and that's part of that management of change. So that was probably the greatest impact to that, but it also forced us to be creative in the sense of things that we wouldn't normally be regularly ordering, such as hand sanitizer for our associates, or masks or things of that nature. Something that's not product driven or an ingredient to that also was very challenging for us. So we had to get a little bit creative, and we were actually able to find that a lot of our surface disinfectants or CIP chemicals actually had approved other secondary uses that we were unaware of. So by doing that, it really allowed us to kind of stopgap the shortage until we were able to get more in-house.
Interesting, interesting. I love that Coke was able to overcome that obstacle by being so creative. So that's a wonderful testimony to how you guys were able to overcome that challenge. Another question that has come in, Jenny, is around how Coca-Cola handles supplier documentation. Can you maybe shed a little bit more light around on that piece for our attendees?
So as far as suppliers, so they actually, Coca-Cola as a whole, not necessarily Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast, but Coca-Cola as a whole, uh, employs a corporate level supplier management and authorization process. That then trickles down to Coca-Cola Beverages Northeast, where we are only authorized to order from those authorized suppliers list that then get audited from that corporate level structure here for us. So we don't actually have a huge play in that when it comes to ingredients or raw materials. But as far as some of the other items, such as maybe uniforms or something like that to that nature, we do have a onboarding process, um, and really standardizing that has made a big difference for us and our business. So to be able to come in, collect all of the required documentation, let it all be in one centralized location, um, it, it has really made the business go a lot smoother in that regard. I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
You did. Thank you, Jenny. That's fantastic. All right, wonderful. Well, we are coming up on our time together today. Jenny, on behalf of us here and the attendees who are colleagues in your industry, thank you for taking the time to speak with us and share some really great, insightful information about the great work Coca-Cola is doing and your journey and kind of where ETQ has been impactful for your business. So thank you so much. To our attendees on this list, I hope that you have found this time valuable and we've answered all of your questions. If any additional questions do come up for us or for Jenny, please feel free to reach out. In the meantime, our next segment that we have together as part of the workshop is to branch out and do our breakout sessions for the 2 demos. You're going to find that the links are going to be put into the chat, so feel free to jump into whichever demo you feel appropriate, whether it be audits or mobile. We look forward to seeing you in those next sessions as well. Jenny, thank you again. We will be in touch with any follow-up questions for you, but wishing you a great day and all the best to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks everyone.